Hi everyone, it's Becky here, and good morning from Whistler. So it's very early in the morning, around 6:30, and I'm ready to start my day by sketching the early morning sky about 30 minutes after sunrise. So creating a frame first. Now I'm ready to draw the contour outline of the layers of mountains. Spending most of my time seeing these actual lines and get these organic shapes of the layers of mountains done. Now I'm drawing this chimney for this vacation lodge under the mountains, and the tips of the trees sticking above the roofs, and yeah, the line of the rooftop of the lodge, finishing the bottom part of the roof. On many buildings, you're going to see the bottom part of the roof have these triangular, smaller roofs sticking out. And I can never get tired of drawing trees, especially when tracing out the contour outline, because we can never find two trees in the whole world that looks exactly the same. Yeah, so truly enjoying my drawing experience, putting these trees in front of the vacation lodge here. Again, most of the time, I'm not lifting up the pen and just looking at those actual trees in front of me, just letting my consciousness to move my hand and not looking at the paper too much. Yeah, so these trees are nicely overlapping each other, and then adding some foliage texture inside these contour outlines, and a few branches and twigs sticking out. Now I'm ready to work on the body part of the vacation lodge, dividing the upper floor into smaller units, and then 2 levels. There are more shorter trees on the right side of the vacation lodge. This one is likely a maple tree. And the little trunk. Going back to the vacation lodge building to add these slanting lines for the slope of the roof. So I like to get the longest lines done first, and then these shorter lines. Yeah, it's pretty satisfying to fill in the blank blocks for the roof. Now I'm ready to draw this other building with this lovely tip of a roof in a tiny pyramid shape. And another tree covering most of it. And then keep tracing out these organic razor lines for the trees' canopies. And it feels really nice to do this very first sketch of the day in the fresh morning air. Yeah, and then get this middle roof done for the vacation lodge. Slanting lines to show the three-dimensionality of the slope. Ground level, I see awnings and little umbrellas of the cafe or the restaurant. And I see a balcony kind of structure with pretty intensely shaded areas in these dark blocks that I see. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw these windows for the upper floor in very small units. So as I usually mention in my videos, windows are so much like eyes of buildings. And I'm going to keep going to get these balcony railings done. As I see, all of these lines are short segments of horizontal or vertical lines going slightly down towards the right. and some more little units of windows. And the drawing process, like drawing anything that you see from real life observation, is a great way to elevate our appreciation of life as well as our cognition. Because people in the modern world spend so much time scrolling on their phones, we kind of lose awareness of the beauties around us. So yeah, the sketching hobby is a really nice way for us to be alive and live more like a human. And making these simple marks that pretty much anyone can do. As long as you can hold a pen or pencil, you can make these scribbly marks, and it's a nice way to release the negative energy inside us and make us feel much better after the drawing and painting process. Now I'm drawing the contour outline of this car parked on the side of the street. The wheels and these simple trapezoids for windows, and that's very much it, the look of a car. Final polish, accentuation on the rooftop, and writing down the time frame. Yeah, it's gonna take me about another 15 minutes to paint. Now, starting painting the sky area first. Wetting it with clear water just creates a gradient of colors very smoothly. Starting with lemon yellow and cadmium yellow, blending on diluted orange closer to the horizon. The higher part of the sky is actually kind of a turquoise blue color, which is a mix of cerulean blue and lime green. The morning sky is very gentle, not very intense blue, compared to a regular daytime. Using horizontal brush marks to gently blend the blue and the yellow together. And that's very much it for the sky. Now glazing on a bit of yellow-orange for that peak there, because it contains a very strong stain of the morning light. And now I'm just wetting these tree areas with clear water. Starting with a light shade of green, which is viridian green, with a little bit of yellow ochre in it. Dilute it with water. As you can see, for some of these trees' canopies, it contains a higher ratio of yellow ochre. And very quickly punching these brush marks on. Yeah, so basically it was 2 greens and 1 or 2 yellows were able to create a pretty wide and realistic range of greens for trees. Okay, now I want to take a break from painting these trees before shading them further. Now I want to paint the mountain layers. Grabbing some cobalt blue and some Prussian blue as well. Mountains in the far distance, they always look blue. And painting a very transparent blue because that mountain there in the back is kind of glowing, especially around the peak area of the morning light. This mountain here in the front is looking more green, which is turquoise green containing less water. The value is also heavier compared to the mountains far away. And I want to intensify the turquoise green on the bottom for a bit of a morning misty effect. So that's it for the mountains. If you want to represent the sense of aerial perspective, you have to paint your mountains far away in a more blue and turquoise blue tones. And mountains closer up in the front, they could look more green. Yeah, the actual foliage colors, not affected by the atmosphere. Okay, now it's time to shade these foreground trees using more concentrated viridian green. Yeah, we can use pure viridian green to suggest the clusters of leaves, shadows. I'm also mixing a bit of burnt sienna into viridian green or any dark shade of green in your palette. and using these choppy brush marks, yeah, as usual, to show the leafy clusters. And following my observation, most of the shade greens are on the left side of these trees because the sun is behind on the right. Yeah, and just making sure I'm not overshading. Making the shadows from its neighbor's trees a little bit darker to separate these trees' canopy even better. And now it's time to paint the contrasting warm colors of the vacation lodge exterior, which is the leftover orange brown diluted there in my palette. The roof is in a beautifully analogous color of light turquoise green. And grabbing some more leftover orange brown, making sure I paint in between the spaces of the trees, all the exterior area of the vacation lodge. And burnt sienna kind of brown for the window frames and balcony railings. And same for the other lovely building on the right. So using leftover gray to paint the concrete area on the bottom, the street level. And then grabbing some leftover bluish gray to paint the car, leaving a little streak on that top edge to make it shine. Final polish for the roof and shading the windows with leftover blues and greens because they're reflecting the trees. Some final little polish using very subtle bits of grays and browns. Very gentle shading. A little bit more shading for the roof. And that's it. So that's my 30-minute ink and watercolor sketch. Okay, so now I'm gonna sketch my chicken burrito before eating it for breakfast, sharing that with my mom along with porridge and other stuff left over from last night. So I just sketched the contour outline of the package, which is a really wonky triangle. Now starting to give it a bit more volume and the paper folds. These two curves of the wrapper, it defines the flattened cylinder shape. And more wrinkles here and there as I see. Okay, so now I'm ready to dive into the smaller details on the wrapper. These lovely little logos and banners, the letters. So when we're drawing package details, especially something like this, you have to imagine that you're drawing on a round surface. So all of these letters and graphics, they could be kind of curving around, following the surface curve, the longitude lines that are invisible on the surface of the cylinder. So that's it. Now I'm going to accentuate the bottom of the wrap. And now it's time to paint watercolors. So now I'm mixing Van Dyke brown, which is very similar to raw umber, with yellow ochre. So two earthy colors together, diluted with a lot of water for this color value of the paper wrapper. And I'm going to continue using the same color recipe of Van Dyke brown mixed with just a little bit of yellow ochre to shade the package a little bit, especially the lower part. And a little bit on top, gently. And my brush mark is showing the little soft paper folds. Now I'm having fun painting this vibrant teal color of the sticker by mixing lime green with cerulean blue. Yeah, and just fill in the blank. And just painting these little small florals on the sticker. So to shade something yellow or brown, I like to use purple. So this is actually permanent violet, diluted with a lot of water. And using these brush marks to follow my observation of the gentle paper fold. Okay, and final rendering for the package. Now I'm ready to paint the shadow, whether it was water, first in that area, and then using leftover violet and cobalt blue. A very diluted purplish gray. Now I want to shade the teal package with a more intense teal, just so it looks more three-dimensional. Another layer of gray in more intensity on the shadow. Yeah, and shadows are always very important to push our objects off the page. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so after breakfast, I took another 20 minutes to sketch this view outside our Airbnb window, and stay tuned in my next video for my sketch of the Olympic Plaza. See you next time, everyone. Bye, enjoy your day.